Prime Minister, you told working people you wouldn't raise their taxes when you were fighting an election. You said it repeatedly when you were Prime Minister. You've broken their word. You've broken their trust. Will you apologise to them for misleading them?
Well, we kept to our manifesto in terms of what we promised, but I accept the challenge. I accept the challenge that we have asked everybody to contribute. I want to be really clear why we've done that. That is because we need to protect our NHS to make sure that it's there for people when they need it and their families when they need it. Secondly, to make sure we've got the money to put into our schools so every single child can go as far as their talent will take them. And the third thing is to bear down on the cost of living. The one thing that people care about more than anything is the cost of living. And yesterday we were able to announce that we're taking £150 off our energy bills. Now, for most people, the energy bill is the one they worry about most. We've been able to take £150 off that on average for every family.
You told people in the run-up to the election, we will not raise your taxes, people are taxed too high. 800,000 people are being dragged into taxes from your measures yesterday. 1 million people are being dragged into higher tax bands. You have misled the public.
We have absolutely done the least possible we can. We've done it in a fair way. In a fair way. We have had headwinds this year, which were unpredictable. The OBR looked at productivity. Again, they reviewed the 15 years of productivity, and then, based on the failure of the last government, then downgraded forecasts as we go forward. But we are clear. We are clear that we are asking everybody. We are asking people to all make a contribution to this. We've kept it to the minimum, but we're really clear what that's for. It's for the NHS, which people care passionately about. Talk to anybody in this room. It's about what we need to spend on our schools, about children, and it's about keeping the cost of living down.
Do you not accept that you've misled the public? You clearly don't agree with anything I'm saying.
I think anybody would acknowledge that in the last 12 months there have been a number of headwinds which weren't expected. Nobody expected the OBR to re-review retrospectively.
Your black hole was £6 billion and you raised taxes by 26
They
billion.
reviewed 15 years of productivity. Their evidence is that the damage done by the last government was worse than they had anticipated. They've now set out their predictions. I am absolutely determined that we will beat those predictions. They said this time last year that economic growth for 2025 would be 1%, and this year it is 1.5%. So we've already beaten their forecast by 50%.
You said before the election you wouldn't have to tax people more, you wouldn't cut spending, and you would improve the country through growth, public services, and you've gone back on your word.
Well, JP Morgan this morning, you'll have seen the announcement, a £4 billion investment on the back of the budget.
You said during the election that you wouldn't be able to pay for a lift in the child benefit cap. You said it's a difficult thing. I want to put it in my manifesto. We can't. I'm being honest with the public. We can't afford it because I don't want to put people's taxes out. You've done exactly the opposite. You've lost the confidence of this.
Let me answer that, Beth. I absolutely do believe that we've got to lift children out of poverty. We've had a 2-child cap in place for the best part of 10 years. The net result of that is hundreds of thousands of children have been living in poverty. That has a massive impact on their health. Go to any hospital, ask them what is the link between poverty and health. It's a direct link, and those children will not have the opportunity to go as far as their talents will. I'm not going to apologise for lifting 500,000 children out of poverty. I'm proud that this Labour government has done more on child poverty than any government has ever done.
Prime Minister, final question. You said you would do politics differently. You would put country before party. Instead, you have done today something your party wanted to save your own skin. You are not a government of service, you're a government of service.
I don't know how many interviews we've done between us, but I have repeatedly to you and everybody else for years said, I want a Labour government to drive down child poverty. This is not a decision of the last few weeks or months. I have said that from the get-go. It's a moral mission, it is a personal mission. You and I have had interviews where I said I'm determined to drive down child poverty. It is impossible to argue that this is a position that's been adopted just in the last few weeks. It's been my long-standing ambition. I'm proud to be the Prime Minister that's done more on child poverty than any Prime Minister ever.
And for those working people that you've just raised their taxes, what do you say to them?
3/4 of families that have children in poverty are working families. They are the working poor in modern Britain, and I want to end that.
So no more massive tax rises after.
Well, we've done a lot to stabilise the economy. You've seen the headroom in the economy, and you've seen the market reaction to it. So it's clear that others think that the right measures have been put in place.
Let's be completely honest. This was never an interview. It was a political autopsy. For the first time since taking office, Keir Starmer faced a camera where he couldn't avoid the question he dreads the most. Why did you lie to the British public? Beth Rigby didn't tiptoe around it. She didn't soften it. She repeated the exact words Starmer used during the election. We will not raise taxes on working people. Not once, not twice, but multiple times, quoting him directly each time. Starmer tried to hide behind familiar shields, talking about the NHS, schools and child poverty. But the moment he dodged that one question, the truth was laid bare. 800,000 people dragged into higher taxes. 1 million pushed into more expensive tax bands. Record tax burden rising, despite promises to do the opposite. And when Beth asked the simplest question of all, will you apologise? He froze. Not accountability, not honesty, just excuses, distractions and moral posturing. This interview shows exactly why people are furious. It's not just the tax increase, it's the broken trust. Starmer promised the nation one thing before the election and then did the complete opposite once he was in power. And instead of owning up to it, he hides behind headwinds, forecasts, and blaming previous governments. Beth cut straight to the heart of it in just one line. You misled the public. Starmer's answer? A long lecture about moral missions and ambitions he always had. Translation. The plan was always there. He just didn't reveal it until after the election. This wasn't a victory interview. This wasn't leadership. This was a Prime Minister trapped in a contradiction he couldn't escape, with cameras rolling. And if Labour keeps calling this putting the country first, Britain should brace itself, because this was only the first crack in the facade.